First up is I'm Thinking of Indie Things. This is a brand new movie by Charlie Kaufman. It stars Jesse Buckley, who has an amazing voice, Jesse Plemons, Tony Collette, and David Thewlis. Sure. Yeah, this movie, don't watch this movie. Definitely don't watch this movie. I did quite enjoy it, but don't watch this movie because this movie is not for mass audiences. I don't even think it's really for like niche audiences either. Like, it's not even a movie for me, and I still enjoyed it. This movie's freaking bonkers. It is. It is like the most dreamlike movie that I think is physically possible. Like, I've talked about some other dreamlike movies, like 12 Monkeys and Little Nemo. Those were very dream-esque. This is like legit a dream experience movie, and it's so like the initial premise is that this girl has been dating this dude for a couple weeks, and the dude's gonna take her to meet his parents, and it's really awkward and weird, and you're not really sure what's going on, and it just like things get progressively more and more strange, and you're just like you don't know what's happening. And then you finish the movie and you still don't know what happened, even though lots of really crazy stuff happened. And like the movie just legit just never explains what's actually going on. It's based on a book or story, I forget what it is exactly. In the book, they do actually elaborate on like what's really happening. It's more clear. I don't know if it's literally possible to watch this movie and understand what's really happening. I'm not going to say what it is because I want you to decide for yourself if you want to know what's happening before going into it. I don't know if it's better to know. I feel like I definitely want to watch this again now that I know what's actually happening because, so I didn't read the book, but I did read a Vanity Fair article that like really broke down everything, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and that's a really interesting premise for a movie. But like, yeah, no, I just like it's so strange. It's so weird. Like, because like when I say dreamlike, it's like things are happening, scenes playing out like normal, but then suddenly something weird and different happens, and just like in a dream, you just kind of roll with it and accept it. And it's like you really shouldn't accept it because if you really think about it for a second, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But like it's just like everything is just happening. You're just going with the flow, even though it's like that's really strange. Okay, all right. But yeah, don't watch this movie. Really don't watch it. It's good. It's really solid. Just you're not going to enjoy yourself. Please don't hate me for what I'm about to say about this movie. Now on to Airplane. This is a 1980 movie starring Robert Hayes, Julia Haggerty, Leslie Nelson, and Lorna Patterson. This was recommended to me by my cousin. I saw him recently, and he was wanting to offer movie recommendations. He kept offering me things I've seen before, but then he said this, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen Airplane before, and I hadn't. If you don't know the premise of this movie, there's an airplane ride that happens, and literally every second of the movie is a joke. And it's zany, wacky jokes constantly. Just if memes were a movie, this is the movie it would be. It's just references and jokes, all like just constant being thrown at your face. But the thing is, since it's a 40-year-old movie, I don't get most of the references. Like, it's to things like coffee commercials from the 70s. Like, obviously I had never seen that commercial before. Or like a lot of the humor came from the fact that like a lot of these actors, like this is Leslie Nelson's first comedic role. And I'm like, I only know him as a comedian, or like, in funny movies. But like he was a serious actor before this, and so like that's where a lot of the humor comes from. And I'm like, I don't get it because like I don't like if I either know these people as comedians or I just don't know who these people are in general. So like so much of the humor just didn't land for me. And then like some of the best, all of the like pretty much all the best jokes in the movie I already know, like, and was able to quote, like have you ever seen a grown man naked line? Or like the nervous joke. I love that joke. And so like, even though I've never seen the movie, it's like I read the best things. I know all the best things just from pop culture, or like the and Don't Call Me Shirley thing. Like I remember saying that back in elementary school, having definitely never seen this movie before, but that was just like a joke that everyone knew, and it came from this movie. So like I wanted to like enjoy this because I know it's such a beloved movie, but it's just like I couldn't because I didn't watch it as a kid, and all of the best things I already knew, and just like and all the references are super dated. I did laugh a few times, and I did finish it. I didn't hate it. I ended up putting it in the meh category. So please don't hate me if you love this movie, and you're really disappointed that I didn't really love it too. Because yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's just I couldn't. It wasn't bad. But yeah, sorry. And finally is A King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. This is a 2017 movie starring Charlie Hannon and Jude Law, my third Jude Law movie. This is recommended to me by a pretty girl, and I kind of regret that because, yeah, this is not a good movie. It's basically, the premise is essentially, it's the story of King Arthur as told by Guy Ritchie. And it's kind of exactly what you'd imagine it to be. I immediately lost interest in the movie as soon as the giant elephants went away. Like they're 200 feet tall, and I was like, "Ooh, giant elephants! That's really cool." And then they went away, and I'm like, "Okay." I stopped caring about everything, and I literally just stopped paying attention to the movie and played Animal Crossing for a while. So I honestly don't have anything to say about this movie. So instead, I will tell you what the pretty girl thought about this movie. Which, spoilers, she also hated this movie a lot. So she said Arthur was just a giant dick the entire movie, and he never like got redeemed or anything. He was just a big asshole the entire time, and that's his character. Is he's just a dick. They killed off all of the female characters, all the women except for one, and the one that was left is kind of like, what is she even here for? Like, what is happening? She's just kind of there. Which when I was watching it, I was like, whatever she's on screen, I was paying attention a little bit more, but she is like barely in that movie, and it's just like, what is the point of this? So I agree with that statement a bunch. They also made Dude a very likable father, and apparently he's not supposed to be a likable father. It was also shot very poorly. And they also killed Mordred, and that's the guy who's like prophesized to kill King Arthur, and they kill him literally at the beginning of the movie. And it's like, this whole movie is essentially just like a giant middle finger to all the King Arthur lore and stuff. And apparently it was supposed to be like the big first installment in a six movie series all about King Arthur, but this movie did really awful because apparently it was just super bad. I said apparently because, again, I wasn't paying attention. So I don't really have anything. I don't have anything. So yeah, I get why there's lots of hate, I guess. She also, the pretty girl, also recommends that instead of watching this movie, you should watch the BBC show Merlin instead. That's actually really good. I would also go as far as to say you should watch The Kid Who Would Be King. That came out, I think, last year, and it was really solid. It's definitely a kid's movie, but I think it was good. It's kind of like a ancestor of King Arthur's story set in the modern time, and it was solid. I liked it a lot. She hasn't seen it, so I can't give you her opinion of it, but I think it's worth a watch. That movie, not this one. This one's garbage. Why he shadow boxes at one point, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why is you're King Arthur? King Arthur shouldn't shadow box. This is dumb.